Alright guys, today I have another mini tool review, and it's going to be on the Lisle 65600 tool that extracts the broken spark plugs from the Ford 5.4 liter and the 4.6 liter 3-valve engines. And you may be wondering, why do I have three of them? Well, we're going to get to that in a second here, but first thing I wanted to do was go through this tool, the same tool that is made to extract those broken spark plugs, but from Ford. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention about this tool is that it's very complicated. It's very expensive. It costs over $600 for this tool, whereas the Lisle tool you can get it for around $65, I believe, from Amazon. And once I open it up, you're going to find out why. There's a lot of multiples of all the extractors and the guides and everything in here, and that's just for the way that they have for their method to extract these broken plugs out of here. So we're going to get all these extras out of here. I just wanted to show you to see how many pieces actually come in this kit. We can get rid of all these extras out of here. It's about 4 of each in here, it seems. Okay, so the first way that Ford figures the plug's going to break is that the plug's going to come out. The center electrode, the porcelain, everything comes right out. Only thing that's left down in that cylinder head is the bare shell. What they have for that is they want you to jam one of these vacuum plugs down in there and use this tool. It's a little pusher tool. Put it on the end of it and jam it down in there, and that'll plug off the combustion chamber from any debris from this. They want you to next put a tap down in there. We're going to tap some threads into that shell tip, right? 3/8 on here, put it down in there, tap some threads, take that out, and then we're going to put this guide down into the spark plug well, okay, and that'll guide this extractor out of there. This looks kind of familiar to the Lisle tool, but it has the threads in the end of it for the threads we just tapped into that plug on there, that shell tip. So it goes just like that. You turn it in there until it's tight, and then same thing. You turn the jam nut on here and it'll slowly extract it. And that's the way to get out the shell tip only. Now the other method for extraction, in case that porcelain stayed down in that cylinder plug tip, is to use this batch of tools right here. And this is where the consumables come into play on here. These tips right here are $8 a piece from Ford, and they're not reusable. Also, the Loctite has an expiration date, and I'm sure this one is expired. Yeah, used by 5/12. This is our second bottle of Loctite on here. The first one expired also. So this one's already expired, and that was 2012. So you can see when's the last time you used this tool after we found the Lisle tool. So basically what happens is you pull one of these pins out of here. You get the porcelain down the cylinder, and that spark plug well with the plug tip and the center electrode pulled out of it, right? Well, that doesn't happen that often, but when it does, they want you to use this, okay? And we're going to jam inside of here. You can see it's going to get real complicated real quick here. We're going to put it inside of here, right? We're going to put this back together all the way. And then we're going to spray this with brake clean so it's as clean as possible. And then we're going to spray down into the spark plug well, with brake clean also, to try to clean that porcelain that's down in there. And we're going to jam this in there a couple times and clean the bore inside of that porcelain. And then we're going to take this Loctite, pour it all over the end of it here, okay? And then the same thing, we're going to run it in the bore of the porcelain down in there, coat the inside of it with Loctite, okay? And then we're going to take our little pin here, same thing, Loctite. We're going to put it all around there, stroke it inside and out of there, right? And then twist it a little bit, okay? Here's the thing. That Loctite needs to dry for over an hour in order to be able to fully adhere in there and dry and be able to be effective when you go to pull it out. In the meantime, that's why they have multiples of these. This is your little guide in there. So you put this whole thing down in there, right? Got your Loctite on there, and it just sits there. And this will hold it perfectly straight in there, and while it dries, and so you can go on to the next cylinders, other ones that are breaking. Then, when this is dried for an hour, pull it off, okay? And then we're going to put this guide you can see it's getting complicated. Put this one down, there's a steel guide, and then we're going to put the washer on here, okay, like this. And the same thing, we're just going to tighten this. This tip is glued to the porcelain, which is stuck to the shell, right? And it's going to pull the whole thing out. Now when this does work, as far as the porcelain not having an electrode in it, which doesn't happen, like I said, that often, usually electrode is broken off with it. When this is able to be used, it does work very well. That Loctite locks right into there, and it holds it, and it pulls it right out. But yeah, as you can see, this whole kit is very expensive and a little too complicated for general use, everyday use. So, back to the Lisle tool. Why do I have 3 of them? Well, there's a little problem with the Lisle tool, especially the early generations. The extractors on them like to break. So you got a broken spark plug tip. You're trying to pull it out. You're at the extraction stage. You're starting to turn that jam nut and get it out of there, and the darn tool breaks. And there's a whole new set of problems right there of getting the tool out now, because that's hardened steel and all that. And I have a whole video on how to deal with that situation in case you got one of these early kits on here. And the early kits can be identified in case you're trying to buy one online from eBay or something like that. Well, here it is. This is an early kit. This all looks the same, right? Exactly the same. But on here, hopefully you can see that, yeah, there's a little line right there, okay? And each one of these lines represents a generation of this extractor tool, and this is the tool that breaks on them. The very tip of it breaks while you're trying to pull out that shell tip. Those things are really stuck in there, and then this thing breaks on it. And I have an example of that right here. Is it this one? This one's fine. So I have just about every generation here. This is a 2nd generation, see the lines right there? And then this one's a 3rd generation. You see all the 3 lines on there? And some guys are reporting they're getting these tools with 4 lines on them, on the extractor tool. So they're going through multiple generations, and that's the easy way to identify them. This one right here, I'm probably going to have to focus for you guys. There we go. You can see the tip of it here is broken off. And this is a 2nd generation one on here. So it's 1st, 2nd generation I've seen break, but my 3rd generation down here, I have not had any breakages as of yet. And we actually had a rash of these come in, the 5.4 liter engines for tune-ups, and we used this thing like crazy. Multiple vehicles within about 2-week period, they all came in for tune-ups. I don't know why, and we used the heck out of this tool, and it never broke so far. So I say 3rd and 4th generation seem to be safe as far as that. Now, the Lisle tool. How does the Lisle tool work? Well, you got that broken porcelain down in there. You have the broken porcelain in the center electrode. Who cares? Put this down in there, blow it out. Put this down in there, tighten it, and then you're going to tighten this one. And that'll push that porcelain and the center electrode down and away, right? So you expose the shell. Once you expose the shell, you put this guide down in there, okay? And that will guide your extractor tip here. And this is an actual tap on the end of it here. It'll tap threads right into that shell that's down in there, and it'll grip it really, really freaking tight. And you can, as you can see, this tool is nice and strong. And once it does that, all you gotta do is tighten like this, okay? Actually, it's reverse thread, it's a left-hand thread. We're gonna tighten it. We're gonna make sure it's fully locked into that shell, and then all you gotta do is turn the jam nut, and it pulls it out. And I have a whole video on that showing exactly how to do this on a real engine, okay? But I just wanted to compare these 2 methods based off of Lisle and the Ford kit. And what you got to realize is that all the Matco kits or Snap-on or Mac, they're all just a copy of the Lisle kit on here, and they're a lot more expensive. And like I said, I have a really good video of how to use this tool with close-ups and everything else. I walk you right through it. But the main point of this, I want to show you the comparison between the Ford and the Lisle kit, and of course those generational markings on the tool. Because once this thing breaks down in the spark plug, well, you start to freak out really quick. Now, I'm proud to say that every one of these have ever broken off, which has been down around 2 or 3 of these tools I've broken off in the cylinder heads over the years. I've been able to extract them using my method, like I've shown in my new video, to get them out without pulling the cylinder heads. So that's a really good tip. Lots of good tips in that video in case you come across that problem. My personal opinion, 2 thumbs up on this friggin' tool. I tell you, like I just showed, the last time he had Loctite bought for the other tool was 2012. So you can see we always use the Lisle tool even in a professional setting.